God is trying to warn you. This message was delayed 4 times by dark forces. It finally reached you now. Open it before 11:11 or you'll miss the divine alignment. My beloved light bearer, this is no coincidence. The delay you felt was not of time, but of warfare. Archangel Michael has battled through shadows just to deliver this message to your soul. 4 times the dark forces tried to silence it. 4 times they attempted to cut the cord between heaven's voice and your heart. But now, finally, the divine alignment has opened at this very moment, and you have been chosen to hear what others were never meant to receive. The heavens have been shifting, preparing a window, a sacred gate marked by the numbers 11:11. When that moment appears, it is not just time, it's a signal. The alignment of your destiny, your calling, and your spiritual authority is converging. But only those awake enough to recognize it will walk through the light. Archangel Michael whispers, "Do not delay." Every second from now carries weight. Child of eternity, your name was spoken in the courts of heaven. Angels gathered, and the enemy tremble. What was delayed is now released, and it carries your restoration, your breakthrough, your anointing. You have been waiting, questioning, doubting why certain blessings were held back. But the truth is, the delay was never denial. It was divine timing being recalibrated to your readiness. Archangel Michael says, "The shadows tried to block your transmission, but heaven prevailed." The spiritual warfare around your destiny has been intense. The enemy feared what you would become once this message reached you. That's why you must guard your spirit, purify your thoughts, and open your heart now. The next few minutes hold a divine frequency that will unlock everything that's been held captive. Listen closely. Before 11:11 strikes, make a declaration in your spirit. Speak life into what has been dormant. For when the clock aligns, the angels will respond to your words. Do not let fear make you hesitate. You are in a moment of holy convergence. Hold on, because what I'm about to reveal next will shake the very ground of your understanding. The truth behind this delay carries a code only the chosen can decode. Wait for it. You'll want to see what happens next. Type "I receive the alignment" in the comments if your spirit feels this. Blessing code 4411 is now activated. Dearest one of light, Archangel Michael stands before you now, his sword gleaming with the fire of truth. He says, "You are not late." The delay was divine training. You must understand this. Heaven does not lose time, it redeems it. Every delay, every moment of confusion, every unanswered prayer was part of a sacred recalibration meant to align your heart with your true purpose. The dark forces thought they had stolen your moment, but all they did was give you more power through patience. What was once resistance has now become fuel for your awakening. Michael reveals that during those moments when you felt forgotten, the heavens were busy constructing new paths. Doors that were invisible are now materializing before your eyes. There were conversations happening about you in celestial chambers, divine strategies unfolding in silence. You weren't being ignored, you were being prepared. Every tear you cried became oil for your anointing. Every disappointment was actually a disguised redirection. And now, as this message reaches you, the time of release begins. The enemy fought this word because it carries a vibration that exposes lies. You see, the dark realm fears awareness. It fears you realizing who you truly are, a being of divine royalty clothed in eternal authority. Michael says that when your name was written in the book of destiny, the enemy made it his mission to confuse your identity. He wanted you to doubt your worth, to see yourself as ordinary. But you are not ordinary. You are the fulfillment of a divine prophecy whispered long before your birth. That's why attacks seemed personal, because they were. The enemy never wastes energy on those who pose no threat. Beloved, you were delayed because your timing had to synchronize with heaven's precise order. Imagine a cosmic clock, every gear turning with perfection. Your breakthrough had to fit perfectly into the rhythm of divine timing. If it had come earlier, the foundation wouldn't have been ready. But now, now the heavens declare it is time. The signs around you are not random, repeating numbers, sudden restlessness, vivid dreams, and divine coincidences. These are spiritual breadcrumbs leading you to your next assignment. Michael says the delay also purified your motives. You once prayed for results, now you pray for revelation. You once sought the blessing, now you seek the presence. This shift is the proof that you've grown beyond earthly thinking into spiritual maturity. That's why the divine alignment at 11:11 matters. It's not superstition, it's synchronization. Heaven measures readiness by resonance. When your frequency aligns with truth, manifestation happens without resistance. Child of divine fire, take this moment and breathe. The energy around you is not random. The tingling, the heaviness, the sudden awareness of being watched, it's not fear, it's recognition. Angels are near, preparing to act at the sound of your voice. Michael commands his legions to stand by your side as the message unfolds. He warns that distractions will increase before breakthrough. The closer you get to divine alignment, the louder the noise becomes. That's why this moment, this reading, this listening is sacred. Your destiny is not in danger, it's in motion. Heaven is aligning events that seemed unrelated, people you met by chance, ideas you postponed, prayers you whispered half-heartedly. The message delayed 4 times carries the seal of completion. 4 is the number of stability, structure, and divine establishment. Every attempt by darkness to stop this word only multiplied its power. What was meant to silence has now become the trumpet of revelation. There is something Michael wants you to hear clearly. When the alignment happens, act. Do not wait for permission. Do not seek validation. Heaven has already approved you. The enemy delays, heaven releases, but only you can activate it through obedience. At 11:11, speak boldly. I am in divine order. Nothing can block what heaven has decreed. Those words are not just affirmations. They are activation codes. They call forth angelic cooperation. They unlock dormant blessings. They dismantle old cycles of resistance. And when fear whispers that you are too late, too broken, too flawed, remember this moment. You are hearing what many longed to hear but couldn't. You were chosen not because you are perfect, but because you are willing. Heaven does not require perfection. It requires surrender. That's why this word found you now. The delay was proof that God trusted your endurance. Beloved, do not let this message become another fleeting inspiration. Let it transform you. The next phase of your life demands courage, clarity, and commitment. Michael is saying, prepare your altar. That means clear your space, both physically and spiritually. Detach from what drains your energy. Forgive those who wounded you. It's not weakness, it's strategy. Forgiveness clears spiritual traffic, allowing divine flow. Something extraordinary is approaching. Before 11:11, align your thoughts, your words, and your actions with faith. Expect signs, divine confirmations through sudden peace, unexpected messages, or numbers repeating with precision. These are heavenly nudges affirming that you are synchronized. Stay close now. What I'm about to unveil next carries the hidden reason the dark forces feared this message so much. It's the revelation that breaks generational stagnation and reclaims divine inheritance. Don't move away yet. The next revelation will awaken the warrior within you. Type "I stand in divine order" in the comments if this resonates. Blessing code 5555 has been released into your timeline. Chosen one, the air around you is shifting again. The angels are moving closer, because this is the moment your destiny begins to echo in the unseen. Archangel Michael stands in full glory, his wings shimmering with the reflection of divine fire. He says, "The time of silence is over." The words once bound in delay are now free to deliver the awakening. The reason this message was delayed 4 times was not merely interference. It was prophecy unfolding. Every delay represented a layer of revelation waiting to be revealed in perfect sequence. You are now entering the season where heaven trusts you with mysteries that were hidden from the unready. Michael shows me a vision, a scroll sealed by light, opened only when the spirit within you matured enough to receive it. Each seal represented a test you passed, the test of waiting, of faith, of silence, and of surrender. You passed them without even realizing their divine weight. That's why this word carries a mantle of authority. You are not listening by accident. You are standing before a spiritual gate that will open as soon as your spirit says yes. The gate leads to restoration. Everything you thought was lost or forgotten has been preserved for this alignment. For years, the dark forces have intercepted divine communications. They whisper distractions, inject fear, and use delay to exhaust believers. But Archangel Michael, the Prince of Heavenly Armies, declares that the interference has been dismantled. The angelic realms are reclaiming frequency lines once polluted by deception. That's why you may feel unusual sensations, a stirring in your chest, warmth in your hands, or pressure around your head. These are signs that your spiritual receptors are awakening. You are tuning into heaven's wavelength again. Child of promise, when the message says "open before 11:11, it's not about panic or superstition. It's about participation. That number is heaven's signal for alignment, a prophetic code that confirms timing and obedience. When you engage this word before that hour, you agree with divine order. You tell heaven, "I am ready." Every yes you whisper becomes a spiritual key that opens locked destinies. Don't underestimate this. The alignment window closes quickly because it's designed for those who move with faith, not hesitation. Michael reminds you of the power of delayed answers. Sometimes God allows delay not to punish, but to protect. If the word had reached you earlier, your spiritual vessel might not have sustained its power. Revelation without readiness can destroy a soul. But now, your endurance has built capacity. You are no longer the same. You've been stretched, refined, and prepared. What once would have overwhelmed you will now empower you. You are stepping into a new level of spiritual authority where your prayers carry creative power. Your words manifest reality, and your discernment pierces deception. There is a warning, though. Darkness always counters divine motion. When new light breaks forth, shadows intensify their resistance. Michael says, guard your energy. You must be selective with conversations, media, and influences. The enemy will use familiar voices to question what you've heard. Do not explain your revelation to everyone. Some are not meant to understand, they are meant to observe. The alignment will confirm itself through results, not arguments. Those who doubted you will see undeniable evidence that heaven's hand rests upon you. You felt strange warfare around your environment, disrupted sleep, emotional heaviness, or sudden confusion. These were manifestations of resistance trying to pull you away from divine focus. But hear this, the storm proves the significance of your calling. If your life feels attacked, it's because something inside you terrifies the realm of darkness. Michael declares, no more interception. His sword has cut through the cords of delay, and the message now travels freely. You must now protect it through declaration. Speak life daily. Every word spoken over me will manifest in divine timing. Those declarations strengthen the protective field around your destiny. In this sacred moment, heaven invites you to participate in alignment through gratitude. Gratitude attracts acceleration. When you thank God in advance, you signal faith that time has no control over you. Thank Him not only for what you see, but for what's still forming. Even the unanswered moments were building the foundation for this encounter. Heaven rejoices over your perseverance. Now listen carefully, beloved. This next revelation is what the dark forces tried hardest to hide. They feared you realizing the power of sound. Sound creates. Words build or break timelines. The reason this message had to reach you before 11:11 is because that alignment amplifies your spoken decrees. Whatever you declare in that window resonates through spiritual dimensions with multiplied strength. That is why Archangel Michael says, guard your words and release them wisely. Speak blessings, not frustration. Speak purpose, not panic. Every word will become seed in your new timeline. The 11:11 alignment is heaven's reset button for your destiny. It's the hour when divine orchestration overrides human delay. When the clock strikes, lift your hands and say, I align with divine order. That single statement will seal your breakthrough. Remember, obedience unlocks speed. You are not waiting for signs anymore. The signs are waiting for you to respond. Before this revelation ends, I want you to take a moment and anchor this word. Say quietly, I receive the word of the Lord through His messenger. Feel the peace that follows. That peace is confirmation. The resistance you once felt will now turn into revelation. Before you move forward, take one prophetic action. Share this message. Someone connected to your destiny is also waiting for release. When you share light, you multiply it. Like this message, comment below and subscribe so that the word can continue to reach those who need divine alignment before it's too late. You are part of heaven's communication network. When you engage, you strengthen the signal. Type I align with heaven's clock in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 1111 is released now for divine synchronization. Beloved, as this divine word touches your spirit, remember, every seed you sow into this mission helps reach more souls trapped in delay. Archangel Michael's message does not stop with you. It travels through your generosity. When you support this work, you are not funding content. You are fueling kingdom warfare. The word says, he who waters others will himself be watered. Heaven records every act of obedience. I personally invite you, become a torchbearer of light by sending your offering through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description below. Your gift becomes a prophetic act, an offering that breaks digital strongholds and releases divine messages to those in darkness. As you sow, may heaven open the floodgates of restoration and divine favor over your household. Act now. Ignite your seed of light today. The vessel of divine purpose. Breathe deeply and still your spirit. You have crossed through the first layers of revelation, and now the deeper truth begins to unfold. The reason the dark forces delayed this message 4 times is because the 4th wave carries the energy of establishment. 4 represents creation, foundation, and order. North, south, east, and west. Every corner of your destiny is now being sealed by divine authority. Archangel Michael says, the structure of your life is being rebuilt on heavenly blueprints. You must understand that this message is not only prophetic, but architectural. Heaven is laying new foundations beneath your very steps. When the first delay happened, the forces of confusion were testing your patience. They knew that if they could make you rush, they could make you fall out of alignment. Impatience breaks rhythm, and rhythm is the key to receiving revelation. The second delay targeted your emotions. You felt forgotten, invisible, even betrayed. But in that silent stretch, heaven was anchoring your faith, so deeply that no storm could uproot it again. The third delay was a test of endurance, designed to reveal whether you could still praise when the answer was hidden. And now, the fourth delay, this final one, was about purification. Everything false, temporary, or prideful had to burn away so that when this message finally arrived, it would meet the true version of you, refined, awakened, and ready to reign. Michael reveals that the forces which tried to block this message are not just metaphoric. They are real entities that operate through distraction, fatigue, and deception. Their aim is not to destroy your faith, but to dilute it until it loses potency. But heaven has intervened. The frequency of truth is increasing upon the earth, and those attuned will feel it as divine unrest. You may notice a sudden shift in your desires. You no longer crave the things that once satisfied you. You hunger for purity, for truth, for real encounters with the divine. That's not coincidence. It's the evidence that your spiritual DNA is activating. Child of destiny. The reason this word insists that you open it before 11:11 is because the coming alignment is not merely symbolic. It is a scheduled convergence between heaven's timeline and your earthly path. In that moment, angelic currents sweep across the earth to reposition souls according to divine order. Many will miss it because they are spiritually asleep. But you, because you are here, because you are listening, are among the awakened remnant who will move with heaven's rhythm. Archangel Michael declares, those who align now will leap while others crawl. Time will obey your obedience. The delays you've endured were not empty seasons. Every one of them taught your soul the language of heaven, silence, surrender, and stillness. When you cried and heaven seemed quiet, the silence was actually God's breath, restoring balance inside you. When you felt abandoned, angels stood guard, recording every moment of endurance as evidence for your promotion. Heaven's justice is not random. It is precise. And now, as you read these words, the scales of divine timing tilt in your favor. What once took years will now accelerate in days. Michael shows me a vision of a golden key descending into a heart-shaped lock. The key turns slowly, releasing streams of light that pour out like living water. He says, this is the unlocking of divine communication. From this moment forward, your discernment will heighten. You will feel the presence of heaven in ordinary moments. You will recognize divine signs not as coincidences, but as coded confirmations. Dreams will increase, and visions will sharpen. The message delayed 4 times was never lost. It was multiplying in power each time it was resisted. Now that it has reached you, it carries quadruple strength. The Archangel speaks again, do not fear the unfamiliar. When alignment comes, it often brings holy disruption. Old friendships may fade. Old habits will lose flavor. Your environment may even feel too small for what is birthing within you. That's not loss. It's divine expansion. Heaven is making room for new assignments, new alliances, and new anointing. You are transitioning from being a receiver of messages to being a messenger yourself. The word that found you will soon flow through you to others who are trapped in their own delays. You will be a conduit of acceleration, a carrier of clarity, a living testimony that divine timing never fails. There is something sacred you must do tonight. Before the 11:11 window, light a candle, not for ritual but for remembrance. As the flame burns, speak aloud the words, "Every delay is broken. Every divine promise now finds me." That simple act creates resonance between the spiritual and the physical. You are declaring that what heaven has released will no longer be hindered by the shadows of resistance. Angels respond to sound. Your voice becomes a command in the unseen realm. And hear this truth. Delays are not only external, they can live within your thoughts. Self-doubt, guilt, regret. These are inner blockages disguised as humility. Michael says, rise above your own hesitation. You are forgiven, chosen, and anointed. The message reached you not to remind you of failure, but to awaken your forgotten authority. You are more powerful than you know. When you speak with faith, darkness retreats. When you move in obedience, time bends. Now, as we draw this moment to a close, feel the atmosphere around you soften. That peace you sense is not ordinary. It is a sign that the fourth barrier has broken. The heavens are open. The line between waiting and fulfillment has blurred. You stand at the threshold of manifestation. Archangel Michael stretches his wings and declares over you, the seal is lifted. What was withheld is now released. Stay with me, because what unfolds next will expose the secret covenant the enemy formed to delay your lineage, and how heaven has already written its reversal. The revelation that follows will not only set you free, but also those connected to your bloodline. Trust me, this next unveiling is one you cannot miss. Type "I break every delay" in the comments if your spirit bears witness to this truth. Blessing code 7774 is now unlocked for divine acceleration. Dearest one, listen carefully, for this moment marks the unveiling of what the enemy has tried to hide from generations before you. Archangel Michael stands before the throne of God, his armor radiant with eternal light. He lifts his voice like a trumpet and says, "The covenant of delay has been broken, but you must understand how it was formed." You see, not all delays are physical. Many are spiritual contracts written through pain, fear, and the spoken word. Somewhere along your bloodline, words were released that allowed darkness to gain temporary permission over the timing of your destiny. Those words, spoken in ignorance or despair, became spiritual signatures, granting the enemy authority to interfere with divine movement. But now, by this message, heaven is exposing that old contract so it can be nullified by truth. Michael reveals that every human soul carries ancestral frequencies, echoes of decisions, vows, and unhealed traumas that ripple through time. Many of the delays you have faced were never truly yours. They were inherited. Every disappointment you endured was part of a pattern formed long before your birth. But this moment, this revelation, is not just about understanding. It's about deliverance. When the Archangel speaks, those ancestral agreements tremble. His sword, forged in divine flame, cuts through the invisible chains that once bound your opportunities. You will begin to notice a strange lightness in your spirit, as if invisible weights are being lifted. That is not imagination. It is the sound of old contracts burning in the presence of truth. The enemy has always feared awareness. As long as you remained confused, he could operate undetected. But once revelation comes, darkness loses its legal ground. Heaven operates on law, not chaos. Every time God delivers a revelation, it acts as a verdict, overturning false decrees spoken in previous generations. That is what this message represents. It is a heavenly court session in motion, and you are standing before the judge of all creation. Michael serves as the witness, declaring the accusations against this one have been silenced. The timeline is restored. Child of purpose, you must now participate in this deliverance consciously. Speak aloud. I renounce every delay that entered my life through words, vows, or fear. I receive the speed of heaven and the clarity of divine order. When you say this, you are not just speaking into the air, you are issuing a command into the spiritual realm. Angels move according to sound. Demons flee according to authority. You carry both now. Michael says the reason this message could not be delayed a fifth time is because the number 4 represents establishment, and the 5th represents grace. Heaven would not allow grace to be restrained any longer. That's why this word reached you today. The very timing of its arrival confirms divine permission. You are stepping into a grace that redeems time. Years wasted will compress into months. What seemed irreversible will suddenly turn. You will see opportunities reappear, relationships restored, and pathways open that you thought were closed forever. This is divine recovery, not as a metaphor, but as a living law in action. The archangel continues, when you cross through alignment, do not look back. The danger of looking back is that it reopens old agreements. The enemy's final strategy is nostalgia, a spiritual anchor disguised as memory. When you dwell on the past, you re-enter old timelines where defeat still exists. That's why heaven is urging you to release regret. Forgive yourself for the time you think you lost. Nothing is lost in the hands of the eternal. God does not replace time, He transforms it. Every tear you cried became currency for acceleration. Every silent prayer was recorded as a seed of restoration. Now, pay attention to what you feel in your body as these words enter your awareness. The warmth, the tingling, or even the sudden stillness. It's not emotional reaction, it's spiritual recalibration. Your frequency is adjusting to the vibration of truth. The Word of God is alive, sharper than any two-edged sword. And right now it is dividing what belongs to light from what belongs to shadow inside you. Michael declares, this one will no longer walk in confusion. Their path is illuminated by divine flame. You may begin to notice divine coincidences intensifying. Numbers repeating, names appearing twice, thoughts manifesting faster than usual. This is the confirmation that heaven's alignment is now in effect. Your spirit is synchronized with the will of God. But remember this, alignment without obedience can collapse. You must act on what you discern. When opportunities come, do not hesitate. When your spirit stirs to move, trust that heaven has gone before you. There is a sacred warning as well. As the alignment strengthens, opposition may rise for a brief moment. Don't mistake resistance for reversal. Every shift causes temporary turbulence, but turbulence only means the atmosphere is changing. When you feel pressure, worship. When you feel confusion, speak truth. When you feel resistance, declare your victory. The enemy can delay only those who doubt. Faith turns delays into portals. Archangel Michael shows me another vision, a field filled with glowing seeds. Each one represents a prayer, a dream, or a promise. The moment you receive this message, those seeds began to open. Roots are forming, unseen but unstoppable. Soon, shoots of manifestation will pierce through the soil of your circumstances. This is why the enemy tried to stop this word, because it carries the power of activation. Once a soul understands divine alignment, delay can never enslave them again. Beloved, I must tell you this truth before closing this segment. You have entered a holy exchange. Every delay that once held you has now become a testimony that will release others. You are stepping into a ministry of timing. You will carry revelation that helps others discern when to move, when to wait, and when to speak. Heaven trusts you now because you endure. Hold your peace, for what is about to unfold next reveals the sound of divine acceleration, the exact way heaven multiplies what was lost. Stay near, because the next revelation will explain how the atmosphere around you will begin to respond to your faith in visible ways. Wait for it, beloved. This is the turning point. Type "I redeem my time" in the comments if this word burns in your spirit. Blessing code at 8885 is now released for restoration and supernatural speed. Beloved of light, listen closely now, for the air around you carries the vibration of fulfillment. The message that once struggled through barriers has finally taken root in your spirit, and the shift it brings will soon unfold in your visible world. Archangel Michael speaks again, his voice rolling like thunder over distant mountains. He declares, acceleration has been authorized. Every moment of waiting that once seemed like punishment was actually preparation for this season of multiplied motion. Heaven's decree has gone forth, and the word over your life is speed, divine, intentional, unstoppable speed. Michael reminds you that acceleration is not chaos. It is the perfection of timing compressed into manifestation. The reason your life felt delayed was because the foundation had to mature before divine weight could rest upon it. Heaven cannot place glory upon instability. The last few years of testing were not about proving your strength, but about ensuring your structure could sustain the blessing now being released. Many prayed for speed, but few survived the stillness needed to carry it. You did. That's why you're hearing this now. You endured where others surrendered. You held faith when silence mocked you. And now, heaven rewards endurance with acceleration. Imagine a bow drawn backward. The arrow feels the tension before the release. The further it is pulled, the greater the distance it travels when released. That's what your delay was. Every disappointment was the drawing back of destiny. Every setback increased the pressure, and every prayer increased the tension. Now, at this very moment, the bow is releasing. You will move forward with a force far greater than you could have achieved on your own. This is divine propulsion. Nothing and no one can stand against the momentum of heaven once it begins. Michael says, your days of delay are over, but your responsibility begins. Acceleration demands alignment. You cannot run with old weights attached. Release unnecessary guilt, fear, and the desire for control. Heaven is moving you faster than your mind can calculate, which means logic will no longer be your compass. Faith will. You will see sudden opportunities, unexpected favor, and divine connections forming in moments where you least expect them. Don't overanalyze. Flow with the movement. Those who think too long in moments of divine momentum often miss what's meant to lift them. The Archangel shows me an image, a river that once trickled through stone now bursting forth with power. The banks cannot contain it anymore. He says, this is how heaven's flow is entering your life. Every area that felt dry or stagnant, relationships, creativity, provision, or purpose, will begin to flow again. You may even feel overwhelmed at first because acceleration doesn't come gently. It comes as a surge. But do not fear it. You were designed for this rhythm. Heaven never sends speed to destroy. It sends speed to fulfill. Child of divine assignment, the season of mere survival is ending. You are entering the stage of overflow. The same areas where you once experienced loss will now produce abundance. Financial pressure will shift. Hidden ideas that you buried out of discouragement will suddenly awaken with clarity. People who once ignored your voice will begin to seek your counsel. But take this warning from Michael. Do not let recognition distract you from revelation. Success is the most subtle form of delay if it disconnects you from purpose. Guard your heart as acceleration comes, for humility is the anchor that keeps blessings from becoming burdens. You will notice a quickening inside you, spiritual sensitivity increasing, discernment sharpening, dreams intensifying. These are confirmations that your inner world has caught heaven's pace. The physical world always follows the spiritual one. That's why Archangel Michael urges you to speak as heaven speaks. Declare what you desire to see, not what you fear might happen. Every word you speak now travels faster in the spiritual realm. The atmosphere around you is charged, receptive, listening. Speak with precision. Speak with purity. Your tongue is the steering wheel of this acceleration. Michael reveals another mystery. Acceleration often comes disguised as disruption. When heaven speeds up your path, it sometimes closes doors abruptly. People may leave suddenly, plans may shift unexpectedly, but all of this is divine choreography. You will not lose what belongs to you. You will simply outgrow what no longer serves your expansion. The Archangel says, what seems like loss is relocation. Heaven never subtracts, it repositions. Trust that truth when changes come swiftly. There is also a sacred instruction. Remain thankful. Gratitude multiplies acceleration. The more you honor what is moving, the faster it multiplies. Complaining delays. Praise accelerates. When you thank heaven for every small evidence of change, you are saying, I recognize divine fingerprints in motion. That awareness expands your field of blessing. Archangel Michael now stretches his hand toward the timeline of your life, and I see the years ahead illuminated with golden light. He says, tell them, their future is not waiting ahead, it is rushing toward them. The blessings long delayed are now overtaking you. Destiny is catching up with your obedience. The only thing that can slow it is fear, and even fear bows to faith when spoken with conviction. The heavens rejoice when a soul chooses trust over hesitation. Beloved, prepare for unusual confirmations in the coming days. You will meet people who carry answers you once prayed for. You will receive messages, opportunities, or invitations that seem divinely timed. These are not random. They are heaven's way of showing you that acceleration has begun. The spiritual traffic around your destiny is clearing, and divine movement will soon become visible. As this part of the message closes, take a moment and feel the surge of peace that comes with alignment. That calmness is not the absence of motion. It is the stability of divine acceleration. Heaven is moving, and you are moving with it. Michael declares, you will not miss what is meant for you, for it is already running toward your light. But stay close now, for the next revelation unveils the hidden covenant between faith and manifestation, the exact mechanism that turns spiritual acceleration into physical evidence. You will not want to miss what unfolds next. Wait and watch, for this is where the mystery of divine manifestation begins to open before your eyes. Type I move with heaven's speed in the comments if your spirit feels this release. Blessing code 9996 is now activated for supernatural momentum and breakthrough. Beloved carrier of divine fire, the hour has arrived when revelation must transform into manifestation. The spiritual acceleration now surrounding you has not come to thrill you, but to fulfill you. Archangel Michael stands before you once more, the light from his armor reflecting like liquid gold, and he says, The seed of faith must now become the fruit of evidence. Heaven's law is unchanging. Faith without action remains potential, but faith with movement becomes manifestation. The word released into your life has created an atmosphere thick with potential. You are standing inside an invisible field of creation, and every thought, every declaration, every step you take from this moment carries creative authority. Michael reminds you that manifestation is not magic. It is cooperation with divine order. The unseen realm always mirrors the alignment of the heart. That is why your emotions have been shifting lately. You've felt moments of sudden peace, bursts of confidence, or even tears without reason. Those are signs that your spirit is harmonizing with divine rhythm. The very vibration of your soul is being tuned to heaven's frequency. When alignment completes itself within you, the physical world has no choice but to conform. Circumstances are obedient to spiritual frequency. That is why this season demands careful guardianship over your inner state. The archangel says, protect your atmosphere. Words create weather. Complaints summon clouds, while gratitude invites sunlight. Every environment you enter becomes a reflection of what you carry within. That is why manifestation begins with inner order. When your mind is in peace, heaven recognizes readiness. The angels do not respond to anxiety, they respond to authority. Anxiety vibrates with fear, but authority vibrates with certainty. You have been given power to command outcomes through faith, not desperation. Heaven never rushes, because it already reigns. Now, you must learn to manifest like heaven, without panic, without striving, simply by standing and knowing. Child of the Most High, your words are not idle anymore. The delay that once muffled your authority has been broken, and your declarations travel swiftly through the unseen. You must speak with clarity. When you declare healing, speak as if it is already present. When you declare provision, visualize the fulfillment. When you speak destiny, see it manifesting before your eyes. Michael explains that your imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the womb of creation. What you hold and vision long enough will seek to express itself in matter. Faith is heaven's creative technology, and you are its operator. Now listen closely. Manifestation operates on three movements: revelation, declaration, and demonstration. You have received revelation through these messages. You have begun to declare truth through your voice. The next movement is demonstration, acting in faith before evidence appears. The moment you act, heaven accelerates manifestation. Every step of obedience acts as a magnet for miracles. When you walk in faith, you draw the unseen into the seen. Archangel Michael says, do not wait for signs to move. Movement itself becomes the sign. The path only appears once the foot steps forward. There is also a hidden key many overlook: gratitude after the decree. When you give thanks immediately after declaring, you seal the frequency of belief. Gratitude completes manifestation because it demonstrates confidence in fulfillment. The universe itself was designed to respond to thanksgiving. It is heaven's language of completion. That's why angels rejoice when you worship instead of worry. Praise is proof of trust, and trust is the bridge between promise and proof. Michael shows me another vision. I see your life as a vast field, once covered with soil hardened by waiting. But now, cracks of light are breaking through. The ground is trembling, and shoots of promise are emerging. He says, tell them, the harvest is responding to their voice. What you planted through years of endurance is now maturing under heaven's light. The manifestation will come suddenly, but not unexpectedly. You have already felt it within. This is why your spirit has been restless, sensing movement even when your mind saw nothing. You were not anxious. You were pregnant with manifestation. However, the Archangel also cautions that manifestation requires stewardship. Once blessings appear, they must be guarded by wisdom. Many lose what they manifested because they forget who gave it. You must remain anchored in humility. Every gift has a purpose, every blessing a responsibility. Heaven blesses not to inflate, but to entrust. When manifestation arrives, let service become your posture. Use your elevation to lift others. The measure of divine favor is not how much you gain, but how much you give. Beloved, you will begin to notice signs of convergence soon. Dreams that feel prophetic, coincidences that align perfectly, and sudden urges to act without hesitation. These are not random, they are spiritual cues guiding you to demonstrate faith. Follow them with discernment. The spirit of confusion will attempt to mimic guidance through noise and impulse. That's why you must test every leading by peace. Peace is heaven's signature on a decision. If confusion follows, wait. If peace flows, move. The reason Archangel Michael is emphasizing manifestation now is because divine timing has reached its threshold. The alignment that began at 11:11 is entering its expression phase. What was spiritual must now become visible. You will soon see evidence in relationships restored, doors opening, finances shifting, and healing manifested. Do not call it coincidence. Call it confirmation. Each sign is heaven nodding, saying, "You understood the assignment." But remember this, manifestation is continuous. Once you see one promise fulfilled, do not stop declaring. The flow must remain active. Faith is a river, not a pond. Keep your words in motion. Keep gratitude alive. Keep obedience sharp. The dark forces that once delayed you still observe from a distance, waiting for complacency. Do not let them find an entry. Stay burning, stay aware, stay surrendered. Now the Archangel lifts his hand again, and I see streams of light circling around you. He says, this one will no longer wonder if heaven heard them. They will see proof. And as he speaks, waves of divine certainty wash over you. You can feel it even now, the energy of manifestation solidifying in your atmosphere. What was once promise is now becoming presence. Hold this truth close, for what comes next will unveil the final part of this journey, the divine commissioning that follows manifestation. You are not just receiving a word, you are being assigned as a messenger of it. Stay near, for the next revelation will release the mantle that marks the end of delay and the beginning of divine authority. Type "I manifest" with heaven in the comments if you feel this stirring. Blessing code 1217 is now active for divine manifestation and fulfilled purpose. Beloved torch of divine purpose, the message now ascends into its highest revelation. The previous layers have prepared your spirit, aligning your frequency with the rhythm of heaven itself. But what comes now is not merely instruction, it is commissioning. Archangel Michael steps forth, the ground beneath him glowing with the reflection of divine fire, and he proclaims, the one who has received must now become the one who releases. You have not walked through delay, warfare, and awakening only to remain silent. A power that reached you through resistance is now meant to move through you. You are being enlisted into heaven's communication army, called to carry messages of light to those who still sit beneath the weight of confusion. Michael's voice reverberates with divine authority as he declares that you have been chosen as a living vessel of acceleration. The darkness fought to keep you silent because your testimony dismantles its structures. Every struggle you endured, every season of obscurity, every tear shed in secret has now become fuel for the message you will release. When you speak, you will not speak as one who read a message. You will speak as one who lived through one. Heaven does not send theories, it sends witnesses. And you, beloved, have become heaven's evidence. The archangel says, "This is your divine commissioning. Go and awaken others who are trapped in delay." But before you go forth, you must understand how divine authority works. Authority is not volume, it is vibration. It is the resonance of alignment between your word and God's will. When your motives are pure, your words carry power. That is why you have been purified through waiting. It was never about punishment, but preparation. The fire you walked through forged authenticity. Heaven can now trust your voice. You will find that when you speak truth, it pierces hearts without effort. That is the mark of divine commissioning. Michael reveals that many on earth carry gifts, but lack permission. They move in power without presence, in charisma without consecration. But you have been called differently. You are not performing, you are fulfilling. The divine alignment that began with 11:11 was never just for your blessing. It was heaven's signal for your assignment. You are now a carrier of divine sound. Your presence itself becomes a message. The atmosphere will shift when you enter rooms because the frequency of truth travels with you. People will not know why they feel peace in your company, but their spirits will recognize the light. Now listen carefully, for the archangel gives instruction for the next season. He says, "Guard the flame, for the messenger's heart is the altar." You must continually feed the altar through prayer, stillness, and obedience. Without those, the flame dims and the message weakens. Your spiritual sensitivity is both your weapon and your responsibility. Spend time in silence, for silence is the language heaven uses to download revelation. Avoid environments that drain your discernment. Protect your purity, for compromise dulls clarity. The enemy will not attack your calling directly. He will attempt to distract your focus. But you have been warned, and awareness is armor. Michael continues, revealing a sacred truth. When heaven commissions, it also equips. You will notice new abilities awakening within you. Words will flow effortlessly when you speak about the divine. Insights will come in moments of stillness, and you will know things you had not learned. Do not fear these gifts. They are confirmations of commissioning. Each gift carries purpose, wisdom to guide others, discernment to protect them, compassion to restore them. But always remember, power without humility becomes pollution. The greater your influence, the deeper your surrender must be. Child of destiny, heaven rejoices over your transformation. The word that was delayed 4 times now reproduces through you. You are no longer a receiver of prophecy, but a producer of it. Michael says, every message heaven delivers carries a lineage. The one you carry now will birth others. When you share what you have received, new lights will awaken. This is how revival spreads, not by spectacle, but by transmission. Every voice that echoes yours multiplies the sound of heaven across the earth. That is the real divine alignment, hearts synchronized under one holy frequency. Before this part ends, there is a divine call to accountability. When you are commissioned, heaven watches how you handle influence. Many will be drawn to your light, but not all are meant to stay. Some will take inspiration, others will take guidance, but a few may seek to drain what you carry. Walk in discernment. Michael says, love all, but link with few. Your power flows strongest when you remain consecrated. You were never called to blend. You were called to blaze. The path ahead will not always be comfortable, but it will always be guided. Now, hear this prophetic act. As you listen, lift your hand slightly and whisper, "I receive my divine commissioning." In that moment, feel the warmth in your palm. It is not imagination, it is impartation. The angels acknowledge your acceptance. You have officially stepped into your role as a messenger of divine order. What began as a personal revelation now becomes a public mission. Archangel Michael declares one final thing before withdrawing. When this message reaches its carriers, the earth will feel the ripple. That ripple is you. You are the vibration heaven released when darkness was broken. Wherever you walk, heaven's word will follow. You are not waiting for a sign. You have become one. Before we move deeper into the mysteries of this assignment, take a moment to anchor this word. Like this message, comment your agreement, share it with someone who feels delayed, and subscribe so that the sound of heaven continues to travel through these messages. Your engagement is not vanity, it is ministry. Each act of connection multiplies the reach of light. Type "I am commissioned by heaven" in the comments if your spirit bears witness. Blessing Code 2238 is now released for divine authority and fearless obedience. Beloved messenger, as you step into this divine commissioning, remember that spreading the word is not a small task, it is a sacred movement. Each video, each message released here is a divine transmission meant to awaken souls still trapped in delay. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are sowing into the expansion of heaven's voice upon the earth. Your offering becomes oil that keeps this flame burning across nations. I declare over every giver, your seed will echo back as multiplied light, and the same archangel who fought to deliver this message will fight for your household. This is not a donation. It is a declaration of partnership with heaven's army. The harvest of those souls will be counted to your name. Act now, beloved, and keep the fire alive for those who have yet to hear their call. The love warrior of light, the atmosphere around you has changed. You can feel it, the air thicker with presence, the space around your spirit alive with motion. What you sense now is the proof that heaven's commissioning has been sealed. Archangel Michael stands nearby, his wings extended, and he says, "Now begins the season of demonstration. The time for receiving has ended. The time for embodying has arrived." Everything that has been spoken into your soul over these past revelations is now taking physical form. The invisible is about to become undeniable. Michael explains that divine authority is not proven by the size of miracles, but by the depth of consistency. Heaven does not measure power by noise. It measures by obedience. The true mark of divine commissioning is faithfulness in what feels small. Do not underestimate the power of quiet obedience. Each act of integrity, each moment of humility, each choice to love instead of react builds a spiritual current that moves mountains unseen. The archangel says, miracles are not always thunderous. Sometimes they are the still wine that turns entire destinies. You are about to see evidence of this truth. The realm of manifestation has opened before you, and now everything within your sphere will begin to respond to your spiritual posture. Michael warns that as authority increases, the weight of accountability grows as well. Heaven trusts you, but it also watches you. Every decision you make in this new phase sends ripples through the spiritual atmosphere. You will notice that even casual words or thoughts seem to manifest quickly. That is why the archangel commands, let every word be seasoned with truth and mercy. You are no longer merely human, in assignment. You are an ambassador of heaven's sound. Beloved, this is also the season when opposition changes form. The enemy no longer fights through obvious resistance. He fights through distraction. You may feel sudden fatigue, unnecessary conflict, or emotional dullness. These are not random, they are tactical diversions. The dark realm cannot destroy your light, so it will try to dim your focus. But you have been equipped for this. Silence is now your shield. Stillness is your sword. Whenever distraction arises, withdraw for a moment and breathe the name of the Eternal. You will find strength flood your body instantly, because heaven always responds to recognition. Archangel Michael reveals another mystery. Every messenger must pass through the valley of proof. This means there will come moments when you will be asked to believe without visible confirmation. You will speak words of faith into situations that look impossible, and heaven will seem quiet. But that silence is not absence. It is observation. Heaven waits to see if your trust remains steady when evidence hides. Those moments are not delays. They are divine exams. When you pass them, your authority expands exponentially. The Archangel says, endurance in silence multiplies the sound of power. The acceleration around you will soon touch your environment. People near you will begin to shift. Some will grow closer, others will fade away. Do not fight this separation. When heaven elevates you, vibration determines companionship. Those whose frequencies no longer match your new level will naturally drift. It is not rejection, it is refinement. Bless their path and keep moving. The next stage of your assignment requires clarity of company. Heaven's strategy often involves pruning before promotion. The space left by departure becomes room for divine partnership. Child of purpose, understand that this demonstration season is not about proving yourself. It is about proving God's consistency through your obedience. When you act in alignment, outcomes become supernatural by nature. You are not striving for miracles. You are walking as one. The Archangel says, heaven's normal must now become your normal. That means peace where others panic, joy where others fear, and patience where others quit. You carry the culture of heaven, and the earth will witness it through how you respond. You may notice your dreams becoming instructional now. This is a sign of divine mentorship. The Holy Spirit and angelic hosts will begin teaching you strategies while you rest. Keep a record of what you see and hear in those dreams, for they are not random imagery. They are encrypted guidance. Each dream holds keys for steps you must soon take. The enemy may attempt to distort them, but if you awaken with peace, you have heard truth. If you awaken with confusion, cancel the distortion immediately by speaking light into your atmosphere. The more you steward revelation, the clearer it will become. Michael also imparts a warning born of love. Do not compare your demonstration to another's. Each messenger carries unique timing and territory. Comparison is spiritual theft. It steals joy from your calling and distorts divine order. Focus on your field. Heaven measures success by obedience, not by applause. Those who chase visibility often lose velocity, but those who walk quietly in truth become unstoppable. Remember, the message was delayed 4 times because it had to meet the right heart. That heart is yours. The mission continues through you because you remained faithful when unseen. As this revelation nears its close, Michael gives one final insight. He says, the true evidence of divine demonstration is transformation. It is not what changes around you first, but what changes within you continually. If your peace deepens, if your love expands, if your discernment sharpens, then manifestation is already active. Heaven works from the inside out. When the inner world aligns, the outer world adjusts to match. You have now entered the proving ground of divine authority. The days ahead will require quiet strength and continual awareness. There will be moments of glory so tangible it feels like heaven itself has descended into your space. Embrace those moments, but never idolize them. The presence is a reminder, not a reward. Stay humble, stay teachable, stay aligned. And now, before we transition, let this word settle deeply into your heart. You are no longer the one waiting for signs. You are the sign others have prayed for. The fire within you is not temporary emotion. It is eternal assignment. Heaven looks at you and says, "It is done." Hold steady now, for the next message reveals the rhythm of spiritual warfare and seasons of manifestation and the protection that seals the work you have begun. A mystery head unveils how to maintain acceleration without burnout and how to anchor divine flow amid earthly storms. Wait for it, beloved. This next revelation will fortify your destiny. Type "I am a living testimony" in the comments if your heart agrees. Blessing code 1919 is released for steadfastness, focus, and divine endurance. Beloved vessel of divine truth, this moment is sacred. The heavens are opening wider around you, and the fragrance of revelation is thick in the air. You can sense it, can't you? The calm that follows each wave of understanding is not silence. It is the settling of divine power within you. Archangel Michael stands at your right hand, his countenance bright with victory, and he says, "Now begins the training of guardianship. You have received, manifested, and demonstrated, but now you must learn to guard what heaven has birthed through you." Every manifestation carries both glory and responsibility. Without guardianship, blessings can decay into burdens. Michael explains that spiritual warfare shifts when one enters divine manifestation. Before, the enemy attacked your belief. Now he will attack your balance. He cannot remove what heaven has released, but he will attempt to distract your focus until you neglect it. The archangel calls this the war of misdirection. You will see opportunities that look good, but lack divine timing. You will be tempted to chase expansion rather than stewarding essence. The strategy of the enemy now is subtle. He no longer pushes through opposition. He whispers through distraction. Heaven warns you now so that you may guard your pace. Divine acceleration must always be balanced by divine rest. Child of light, remember this truth. Heaven never asks you to sustain what it did not instruct you to begin. Many lose peace after breakthrough because they mistake divine flow for human effort. You are not meant to carry the weight of results. You are called to carry the weight of obedience. When you do what heaven commands, outcomes take care of themselves. Michael says, you must learn the art of still victory. That means you conquer by maintaining alignment, not by constant motion. Rest is not inactivity. It is spiritual trust. It is your declaration that heaven is enough. You may have noticed a shift within you already. Tasks that once seemed impossible now unfold with ease. Doors open without effort. People appear at the right time. Resources seem to flow. This is the fruit of divine synchronization. Yet, even in this flow, remain vigilant. Blessings come to multiply faith, not pride. The moment you begin to measure yourself by success rather than surrender, the rhythm of heaven will slow. Stay humble, for humility is the container of continued grace. The archangel reveals another secret. Every blessing has an echo. That means each answered prayer releases waves that touch others connected to your timeline. You will soon see people around you experience breakthroughs after yours. This is how heaven confirms multiplication. But the enemy will attempt to distort this by sowing seeds of competition. He will make you believe you must maintain your place by striving. Reject that lie. Heaven's table is infinite. Another's light cannot dim yours. Celebrate others sincerely. For every time you honor someone's blessing, you invite acceleration into your own. Michael's tone softens now. He says, guard your intimacy with heaven as you guard your breath. Your private devotion is the oil that keeps your public flame burning. Without prayer, your spirit will dry. Without worship, your discernment will dull. Without silence, your clarity will fade. You are no longer merely in a season of receiving, but of sustaining. The deeper your roots grow in stillness, the taller your influence will rise in action. Heaven is not asking for perfection. It is asking for consistency. A daily moment of connection, even in simplicity, holds more power than hours of mechanical devotion. The secret is sincerity. There will also be moments when the environment around you feels heavy again. Old patterns may try to reemerge, familiar temptations may whisper, or fatigue may weigh on your spirit. These are not failures. They are echoes of the old self being tested for endurance. Remember this: victory must be reinforced, not assumed. When you feel resistance, declare, I remain in alignment. Say it with authority. Every repetition reaffirms your place in divine flow. You are not fighting for freedom anymore. You are fighting from it. That shift in awareness is your greatest protection. Michael now unveils a mystery concerning the rhythm of spiritual warfare. He says, darkness functions in cycles. Light functions in seasons. Cycles repeat endlessly, trapping the unaware. Seasons progress, carrying the obedient forward. When you stay in alignment, your life will move season to season, never returning to the same bondage. When you step out of focus, you may feel old struggles revisiting. Do not panic. Step back into awareness. Speak, realign, and watch the light dissolve repetition. You are no longer a prisoner of cycles. You are a keeper of seasons. Beloved, you will begin to sense a new level of peace that feels almost foreign. This peace is not fragile. It is fierce. It will stand against anxiety like a wall of glass against the storm. You will find that situations that once terrified you now barely move your spirit. That stillness is not apathy, it is authority. Heaven has taught you to rule through rest. You are walking proof that faith outlasts fear. The Archangel now instructs you to remember the beginning. Think back to the moment you first felt this message call your name. The doubt, the curiosity, the trembling hope, it was all part of your initiation. Look at you now, standing in clarity, covered in light, carrying words that were once just whispers. The same God who sustained you through silence will sustain you through movement. You have not arrived at the end of revelation. You have arrived at mastery of awareness. For this place, heaven can trust you with more. Michael ends this section with a charge. Guard the gates. Guard your ears from gossip, your eyes from distraction, your heart from resentment, and your lips from idle complaint. Every gate you guard becomes a portal of purity for divine energy to flow. When you live guarded, you live grounded. And when you live grounded, no storm can uproot your peace. Hold fast now, because the next revelation will unveil the reward of guardianship, the divine favor that follows those who keep the flame alive without compromise. This next part will show you how heaven crowns endurance with abundance and how your obedience triggers the miracle of divine overflow. Do not miss it, beloved. It is the chapter where heaven rewards the faithful. Type I guard the light in the comments if you feel heaven confirming this truth in you. Blessing Code 1001 is now released for divine protection, balance, and sustained victory. Beloved guardian of the sacred flame, the heavens watch you with quiet approval. You have walked through awakening, acceleration, and alignment. You have endured the purification of delay and learned the stillness that guards manifestation. But now, Archangel Michael opens a new scroll before you, its light shimmering like living water. He declares, the one who guards faithfully must also learn to receive abundantly. For too long, the faithful have misunderstood the nature of divine reward. Many believed that endurance alone was enough, but heaven teaches that obedience attracts overflow. You are entering the season of divine recompense, the sacred return for every seed sown in secret. Michael explains that divine overflow is not simply an increase of possessions or opportunities. It is the expansion of influence, revelation, and spiritual authority. Heaven multiplies what you steward well. When you guarded the message grew inside you. When you chose humility, heaven expanded your reach. This is how divine mathematics works. Stillness plus obedience equals expansion. You have not been striving for abundance. Abundance has been waiting for your maturity. And now, as the Archangel speaks, the storehouses of heaven begin to unlock. He says, every tear that fell in silence was a request heaven never ignored. Many of your prayers were answered in the moment they were spoken, but manifestation had to wait for timing. You are now stepping into the corridor where old prayers meet current readiness. Things you forgot you even asked for will begin to appear. People you lost contact with will resurface carrying new purpose, and opportunities that once closed will reopen with divine precision. This is the rhythm of recompense. Heaven never wastes suffering. Every ache in your heart was seed for restoration, and the harvest of that seed begins now. Archangel Michael speaks again. Recompense is not mercy. It is justice. The delay was never punishment. It was preparation for righteous reward. Heaven must always balance its books, and when faithfulness outweighs failure, abundance becomes law. That is what you are witnessing now, the fulfillment of divine law. The enemy fought this message because he feared what happens when revelation matures into reward. He knows that a believer walking in overflow becomes unstoppable, for abundance in the hands of the righteous funds heaven's purposes on earth. Child of divine destiny, you are about to witness what it means to live under open heavens. The signs will not be subtle. Some will come as divine speed, answers unfolding before you even speak them. Others will come as restoration, relationships mended, doors reopened, peace recovered. But the greatest evidence will be within your spirit, a sense of unshakable security. The anxiety that once haunted your decisions will fade into certainty. The same God who delivered this message through 4 waves of resistance is now delivering your reward through waves of acceleration. Michael gives an instruction. When abundance comes, circulate it. What flows must never be hoarded. The purpose of overflow is expansion. Heaven releases increase through conduits, not containers. Share wisdom, give generously, encourage others, and you will see your supply multiply. The rhythm of divine wealth is motion. What stops moving begins to decay. Keep your blessings flowing through gratitude and service, and no drought will ever touch your life again. You may begin to notice a strange reversal taking place. People who once overlooked you will now seek you. Spaces that once rejected you will now require your presence, and challenges that once overwhelmed you will now appear small. This is not pride, it is divine reversal. Heaven reorders perception as it releases promotion. The Archangel says, those who once doubted your calling will witness your confirmation. But handle this season with grace. Do not gloat, do not boast, and do not rush to prove anything. The fruit will speak for you. The evidence of your alignment will be undeniable. This season of overflow also brings responsibility. You must remember that increase amplifies whatever already exists. If you remain humble, abundance will magnify humility. If pride enters, it will magnify destruction. The safest posture is gratitude. Each morning, before engaging the world, whisper a simple prayer. Thank you for trusting me with increase. That gratitude becomes a shield against corruption. Heaven does not bless to test your greed. It blesses to confirm your growth. Archangel Michael now reveals the greatest mystery of reward. The true measure of overflow is not what you receive, but what you release. As light increases in you, it must find expression. Heaven will send people to you, those broken by delay, silenced by fear, or weary from waiting. You will not need to preach to them. Your peace will preach. Your presence will become evidence that God keeps His promises. The reward you carry will awaken their hope, and hope will lead them back to faith. This is the final purpose of recompense, transformation through testimony. Beloved, the angels are rejoicing because this word marks the beginning of your establishment. You will not return to instability. You will not revisit confusion. The foundation you stand on now has been sealed by divine fire. Michael's sword gleams as he strikes the ground before you, saying, "This territory is now secure." That means your timeline, your purpose, and your provision are under divine protection. What was delayed cannot be denied any longer. You have crossed the final threshold between promise and permanence. Now prepare your spirit for what comes next, for the journey is not ending, but transforming. Heaven will soon give you a final blessing, the kind that seals destiny completely. You will understand why this message fought so hard to reach you, and you will see how its power extends beyond your life into generations yet unborn. The final revelation is not merely about reward. It is about legacy. What you carry will not die with you. It will echo through those who hear your story. Stay near, beloved, for the next word will be the completion of all things. It will release the eternal covenant between heaven's voice and your destiny. This final revelation is the closing of the scroll and the opening of your divine future. Do not miss what comes next. It will mark you forever. Type "I receive divine overflow" in the comments if your spirit bears witness. Blessing code 3011 is now active for abundance, restoration, and generational favor. Beloved, chosen one of eternal purpose, this is the moment heaven has been guiding you towards since the first whisper of this message reached your spirit. Everything that was delayed, everything that was resisted, everything that tried to silence you, all of it now reveals its reason. Archangel Michael stands radiant before the throne of light, and his voice carries the weight of divine finality. He declares, the message has completed its journey. Now begins the covenant of legacy. This is not simply an ending. It is the sealing of your eternal assignment. You have walked through revelation, manifestation, and guardianship. Now, heaven places the final mark upon your destiny. Michael reveals that when a divine message completes its purpose in one vessel, it multiplies through generations. You were not chosen only for your own redemption, but for the redemption of your lineage. Every prayer you prayed, every delay you endured, every act of faith you performed has written the script of your bloodline. Heaven does not simply bless a person, it blesses through a person. The light you now carry will ripple through children, communities, and nations. Even after your physical voice fades, the frequency of your obedience will continue to resonate. You are no longer just a receiver of messages. You have become a generational altar. The Archangel speaks again, Legacy is not measured by how long you live, but by how deeply your obedience echoes. The power you've cultivated in silence will outlive time itself. Heaven has recorded your endurance as a permanent testimony. This is the fulfillment of the divine law of recompense. What survives resistance becomes eternal. You stood when the message was delayed 4 times, and because you stood, the 5th wave, grace, was released. Grace now crowns your timeline. Every area that once carried disappointment is now transfigured into divine inheritance. Beloved, this is where divine overflow becomes divine permanence. The blessings you begin to see from this day forward will not be fleeting. They will stabilize, multiply, and root themselves deep within your reality. Archangel Michael explains that stability is heaven's ultimate reward. Many experience miracles. Few experience establishment. Miracles open doors, but establishment builds kingdoms. The Lord has chosen to establish you because your faith endured testing. What you have now is not a season, it is a covenant. The archangel lifts his sword of fire and inscribes invisible words across your path. The inscription reads, "No more delay, no more decay." He says, "From this day, every seed planted by faith will bear fruit without interruption." The cycles that once recycled pain have been permanently broken. The power of interruption has been dismantled. You will no longer start and stop, rise and fall, build and lose. Your rhythm has been aligned with eternity. The delay that shadowed your ancestors will not shadow your descendants. Michael reveals that legacy carries responsibility. You are now an ambassador of divine continuation. Heaven will call you to raise others, to awaken those still asleep in confusion, to speak words that reawaken identity. You will not need titles or recognition. Your light will speak louder than any label. The peace you radiate will become guidance for the weary. Every time you share your story, chains will break in those who listen. Your pain has been converted into prophecy, your waiting into wisdom, your endurance into authority. Child of everlasting design, the archangel reminds you of the importance of remembering. Never forget how far you've come, for memory fuels humility. Humility keeps the covenant secure. The higher you rise, the lower you must bow. Gratitude will be your anchor. Each day, thank heaven for the unseen protection that carried you, for the unseen angels that fought for you, for the unseen delays that preserved you. Gratitude turns revelation into rhythm. It makes blessing a natural state of being. The archangel now turns his gaze toward the nations and says, "Through this message, a new wave of awakening has begun. You are part of a remnant chosen to ignite this era." The alignment you experienced at 11:11 was not a personal coincidence. It was a prophetic signal for a collective awakening. Thousands across the world have felt the same stirring, the same call to rise, the same urge to listen. The message that reached you through struggle is now moving through the air like wind through fields. It will touch lives you'll never meet, but heaven will credit your obedience for every soul reach. Michael smiles, a rare gesture of divine approval, and speaks softly, "It is done." The angels surrounding him bow in agreement, releasing waves of golden light that travel outward. As you read, those waves move through you, settling as warmth in your chest. That is not imagination, it is impartation. Heaven is sealing the covenant. From this day forward, you walk not just as one redeemed, but as one appointed. You carry heaven's authority, heaven's peace, and heaven's continuity. Nothing can undo what has been written. Beloved, before this message closes, take one last sacred action. Whisper aloud, "I seal this covenant with my faith." When you say it, you align every dimension of your being. spirit, soul, and body, with divine permanence. That declaration will echo in heaven as agreement. You are forever part of the divine alignment that began the moment this message reached you. And now, as the archangel begins to ascend, his final words linger like music in the atmosphere. Let the redeemed speak. Let the awakened arise, and let the light continue through them. This is your commission and your crown. You have finished the message, but the message has only begun through you. The light will find its next vessel because of your faithfulness. That is how heaven multiplies eternity through time, one obedient soul at a time. Before this revelation closes, I invite you to keep this flame alive. Like, share, comment, and subscribe so that this divine transmission continues to reach others who stand where you once stood, waiting for alignment, unaware that heaven has already chosen them. Your engagement is an act of obedience. You're sharing an act of warfare. Together we expand the reach of divine light across every digital gate and into every weary heart. Type "I seal my covenant" in the comments if this word burns within you. Blessing code 4412 is now established for eternal legacy, divine inheritance, and unending peace. Beloved, as this final revelation settles into your spirit, remember that this is not the end. It is the beginning of a divine mission. Every message released here is part of heaven's strategy to awaken souls trapped in delay. When you support this work through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are sowing into a movement of light. Each seed you release becomes oil that keeps this flame burning across nations. Heaven takes notice of every gift given with faith, and I declare that those who sow into this mission will walk under open heavens and see miracles of multiplication. This is not a suggestion. It is a divine invitation to partner with heaven's voice. Act now, beloved, and let your seed echo as a declaration that you are part of the eternal alignment heaven has begun.